Flight boss, bitch. For sure. You're not listening to the Mind of an Antares Moon. I'm the Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. And right now, Professor Flights is going to do a continuation to the Sun and Moon combination. And right now, goddamn it, we on motherfucking air and goddamn Earth. So we're going to break this shit down. Let's start with motherfucking Earth. Now, like I said, the Sun represents your wants, which is your actions, the way you act, how you see things, what you're consciously aware of, and what other people could view from you. Your Moon represents your reactions and how you respond to the world that you are in, and it is your world. And it's correlated to your true state of being. And it represents what's familiar to you and your comfortability level. So when you're in a place or a location or around people, places, and things that doesn't mix with the energy that you represent, you're going to be uncomfortable in that space and location. So you may play out moodiness, or you may play out clinginess to the things that you are familiar with. So all that is correlated with your moon. Y'all need to keep that in mind. Your moon is getting affected on a daily basis. Now, let's talk about it. Let's start off with motherfucking Earth. Now, let's say you got Earth, Sun, and Earth motherfucking Moon. Now, with the Earth, Sun, and the Earth, Moon, here's how motherfucking things work. Now, when you got a double whammy, like I said, when you got a double or triple whammy, you need to look at the modalities, because the modalities is going to be how the shit is constructed. So the modality could be fixed, cardinal, or mutable. Now, you can have double cardinal, double fixed, or double mutable. And that's going to let you know the Sun and Moon works differently in every sign and every modality. So that's going to let you know how things is constructed. And it's going to build your characteristics. So for the most part, that's what you need to know. So when you got a double Earth, when you got a Sun Earth, Moon Earth, now the Moon motivates the Sun. So the Moon is going to be, because look, we're always in search for comfortability. So that's letting you know your moon is first. So we're always resonating with our moon first. And the sun is going to be what we use in order to get our needs. You see what I'm saying? So the moon is the needs, the sun is the wants. So when you got a moon and earth, right? For the most part, your needs and what makes you comfortable is to be around people, places, and things that represents making sense, practicality, structure, even patience to a certain degree. You see what I'm saying? Also, when we talk about what makes you feel comfortable, you rather be familiar and you rather cling on to things that deals with strategy or deals with scheduling or deals with routine. Anytime you're around too much spontaneous energy, someone utilizing too much their imagination and their passion, but all that energy is not directed in the right area, you're going to start to feel uncomfortable around too much of that quote-unquote fire. Say you're around too many goddamn people who may be talking too much. They got a lot of ideas, and they might be here and there, but you never see that them ideas get formulated into a shape and form. AKA, you'll get uncomfortable around these kind of people. Quote-unquote, too much air. Air. Now, say you're around too much people who throwing around too much emotions and feelings, or their actions is always predicated on things that's not dealing with dryness or coldness, aka air and earth. Their actions is always correlated on things that may not even be apparent yet. So their actions is correlated on vibes and vibrations. And you may be sitting back like, man, this may not necessarily make sense. I mean, I'm trying to understand where they're coming from, but it may not necessarily make sense. A lot of times you may get uncomfortable around too much of that quote unquote water. You see what I'm saying? Now, so that's your true state of being. You feel more comfortable with being practical, things that make sense, people who could be logical, and people who just not babbling out the mouth before rationalizing what they're actually trying to babble out their goddamn mouth. Now, for the most part, and you feel more comfortable with building and analyzing. Now, your sun is in earth also, so that's how you want that to be seen. So you even pay attention to things that make sense, and what you react and respond to and what makes you feel comfortable, that's what you want to be seen also. So you act in that same way. You act in ways that make sense. You act in practicality. So a lot of times, the way you act, people may not see a sense of emotion at times. The way you act, people may not see a sense of inspiration at times. The way you act, people may not see a sense of idea at times. But the way you act, people see a sense of practicality. People see a sense of business. People see a sense of structure. People see a sense of organizing. You know what I'm saying? People see a sense of finesse. People see a sense of non-bullshit. See, to an earth sign, see, when I said lack of imagination, lack of feeling, or lack of thought, Y'all might, since y'all are spiritual because y'all watch my channel, y'all might think that's a lack of something, right? But see, if you are earth sign, y'all need to bring things down and understand it clearly on a day-to-day basis. What that actually just means, if you truly earth, a lot of times when you're around people who got too much imagination but ain't got no willpower, it's looked at as bullshit. A lot of times when you're around people who too emotional and got too much goddamn feelings and things of that nature, you look at that as bullshit. A lot of times when you're around people who got too much thoughts and they talk too much, a lot of times you look at these people as bullshit people. So for the most part, that's what it would look like. So don't get it confused and get too spiritual on me to the point that we forget that these are things that we're dealing with on a day-to-day basis and just basic transits. But if you are a double earth, that's what that actually means. So that's not to say you're not spiritual. It's just the way you look at spirituality, maybe in a realistic kind of way. So you like to utilize your spirituality in your physical life. So you may be a preacher, or you may like to see the results of it. You may look at spirituality as a form of, if you're not seeing it manifest physically, then it's not a form of spirituality that need to be cleaned onto. So for the most part, and you're kind of right to a certain degree. So that's what you need to understand. So that's double earth. Say you got an earth sun, earth motherfucking so you got an earth sun, water moon. So for the most part now, what makes you feel comfortable is dealing with the emotions and feelings. So for the most part, you're really emotional inside. And this is not what's truly seen, because your sun sign is earth. So a lot of times people don't even see this side of you. So this is what makes you feel comfortable. So this is what you react and respond to. Connection, resonation, you know what I'm saying? Resonating with things and being able to relate to people on a vibrational level. But how that's seen and how you want that to look is in a way that makes sense, in a way that's practicalizing. So a lot of times, if you are a sun, earth, water, moon, you are a person who's always trying to rationalize your emotions. You are a person who's always trying to and then a lot of times that make you come across emotional a lot of times. So you a lot of times the water squeaks through the earth, you know what I'm saying, squeaks through the rocks. A lot of times your true self squeaks out at times when you got the sun and earth and the moon and water, because a lot of times you be so dry and so serious, you might try to overanalyze what's going on with you inside, and then by default it comes out externally as you being emotional or in your feelings a little bit. And then you be trying to overpress that. Nah, you're just overstressing a detail or something, or you're just trying to overstress something to make sense, or overstress something that need to be on schedule. And you might be, but you're overstressing it may come out to others as you looking like you're worrying. You see what I'm saying? So you may need to learn relaxation skills and listen to relaxation music when you got an earth, sun, water, moon. But for the most part, you're very psychic also, because you can pick up people's vibes and you could kind of construct it, because you could kind of see where it's headed as far as on a scheduled course, because we're in time as far as the external reality. So you could kind of see a person's vibe internally based upon you having a water moon, and be able to see where it's going externally based upon a person's actions. So you could kind of decipher a person's actions and their words and their body language, and could kind of see where they came from, what kind of family upbringing they had, and things of that nature, just based upon a few words that a person said. So you're very good at analyzing body language and shit like that when you got an earth, sun, water, moon. Now say you got a motherfucking earth, sun, air, moon. Now earth, sun, air, moon. Now here's the thing right here, and this creates dust, a dust kind of circumstance that you be manifesting in your life. Now here's the thing right here, right? Your wants and your needs is gonna want to communicate, want to rationalize, want to relate, want to be curious also. So you're going to find yourself being curious George or curious Georgettes a lot of times. So be careful, women and males out there. But for the most part, you know, that could lead into chatty pattiness. That could lead into motherfucking gossiping. That could lead into being two-faced, and that could lead into just you being in people's business that you don't even need to be in. But for the most part, this is what you like to react and respond to. So you're very relative. So you like to relate to relatives, people you are in relationships with. You like to communicate, and that's what makes you feel comfortable. You know what I'm saying? If you're around too many people that's too goddamn quiet, it's gonna make you uncomfortable after a while. Now, a lot of times, now by your sun being being in earth, the way you want that to be seen is in a way that makes sense, is in a way that's practical, in a way that's stern, in a way that's firm, in a way that's calm, cool, and collected. So you may be real sly with the words. You may could talk somebody's socks off their goddamn feet in the winter goddamn time. You see what I'm saying? With a motherfucking earth sign, sun, and a moon and air. So you're very witty when it comes to the words, and you utilize your words for useful things. You don't just talk for bullshit. You talk for things that make sense. You talk for shit that's going to get you ahead, even if you got to utilize and manipulate people, or whether you just got to motherfucker be charming for the sake of the moment. You're very good at these goddamn things, so you know how to utilize words for practical things. You know what I'm saying? You could talk the motherfucking landlord out of walking away with no motherfucking money in his goddamn hands. That's how good you is. You could be like, motherfucker, just next week, because this, that, and the third, and before you even get into anything, the landlord be like, all right, cool. You see what I'm saying? And you ain't even have to do your full potential. So if you was to get into your motherfucking full potential as this motherfucking sun, earth, moon, and air, your motherfucking ass to be unstoppable as a motherfucking wordsmith or a wizard in this motherfucker. So keep that in mind. And all your words will become material and physical in some way, shape, or form. So make sure your mentality ain't in no negative space. And so if you're around a location, around people, places, and things that's constantly in negative shit, this is going to be the shit that you feel comfortable with communicating with. Just by default, by you having a moon and air. So it's just going to be like who you are. So for the most part, you need to get in tune, watch Archangel Uriel so you can get up out of that shit and utilize your motherfucking strength for some real shit. And be motherfucker Mrs. and Mr. Magnetos out this motherfucker. No, Professor X's out this motherfucker. And Nurse X's. Shit. Know what I'm saying? Now, let's say you got motherfucking Earth, Sun, Fire, Moon. This creates lava circumstances and situations. So for the most part, your true state of being and what makes you feel comfortable is being around people, places, and things, or a location that can allow you to express yourself freely, or to be in a circumstance or situation where it's involving creativity, it's involving imagination, or it's involving visions in some way, shape, or form. And these are things you want to express, or feelings at the root cause of it. You know what I'm saying? Some way that you can express your feelings and it doesn't have to be hindered, and it doesn't have to be looked at in a certain way or constructed. So for the most part, that's like when you're around too many people who might think too much, analyze, might try to judge too much, aka that's adding too many spaceships to your fire, aka that's you being around too much air. You'll probably be too uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? You're like, man, these people thinking too hard about my actions. You'll get uncomfortable a lot of times. Then let's say if you fire, moon, and then you're around a bunch of motherfuckers who in a circumstance or a situation where there's just too much emotions and moods being thrown around, and too much people trying to make you care about whatever you actually care about and how it's going to affect others and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So you might care about something, but you might have other people trying to make you care about how that care affect other people's. And then a lot of times that's like your fire being thrown out. So that's like your water being too much around. That water a lot of times will put your fire out. And then say you're around too many people who's trying to practicalize and make sense, aka put too much shapes and forms out of something that's just a potential, something that ain't even inspired yet, but you want to actually experience it. You can't experience it because the structure got to be there first and things of that nature. So a lot of people planning and scheduling and things of that nature, you'll get uncomfortable after a while, aka you might be around too much earth. And even though this is what you like to pay attention to by your sun sign being in earth, a lot of times your true state of being and what makes you feel comfortable sometimes is just to be like, fuck it, and just do it. Then plan after the fact. So you will have to learn how to get that little square learning process dealing with yourself. But for the most part, this is what makes you feel comfortable. This is your true state of being. So you have to be in an arena that's dealing with inspiration and comfortability and the ability to see the potential in the future of something. Now, by your sun sign being in earth, this is how you want that to be seen. So you want that to be seen in a way of that making sense, in a way of that being logical, in a way of that being thought out. So with a sun sign, earth, and fire, moon, you are the person that like to think out their creativity. You know what I'm saying? You like to plan and schedule your inspiration and your passion. So you are a person who likes to put your fire in a fireplace, aka make a platform for the fire could be seen in the way that it's supposed to be seen. Otherwise, the fire just be sparked and go out in thin air without it having an earthly thing to blaze on and a fireplace for others can see it, dance, and all the imagination and the potential and the inspiration and the imagination that can come from that. You see what I'm saying? So you know how to formulate your imagination. That's what lava signs like doing. They like taking their creativity and imagination and create the shapes and forms in their lives out of that. Create some type of structure or stability in their lives out of their imagination. So these are not people who just clinged on working to get what they dream of. These are people who like to take their dreams and manifest stability in their lives off their dreams. You see what I'm saying? So keep that in mind in this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? They want their dreams to work for them, not with the other way around. It'll be the other way around. But with the sun and earth, fire and moon, this is lava, and lava signs like to let their creativity or their dreams work for them, not work for their dreams. Now, see, when we get the other way around and shit like that, when we talk about fire and earth, moon and shit like that, like we brought down to the other one, you know what I'm saying? And we already did that on the last video. That's like a person who likes to, their true comfortability is to make sense and practicalize first, right? And make sense out of things. And then they like to let that be shown in a creative way, in an expressive way. So these people like to work towards their dreams. But then when you got earth, sun, fire, moon, these people like to let their dreams work for them. See what I'm saying? So keep that in mind. Now, when we get into earth, sun, fire, okay, yeah, that's fire, moon. So now we're getting into motherfucking earth. So we did earth. We did earth, water, right? We did earth, moon. I mean, we did earth, air. And then that was earth, fire in this motherfucker. So yeah, keep that in mind. You are a person who likes to feel comfortable with your expressing yourself, expressing the way you feel, and expressing the way you see things. But the way you do it is in a way that being practicalized, that making sense, that being structured. You know what I'm saying? That being in reality. So even though you may express the way you see and feel about things, and that's what makes you feel comfortable, you do that in a way it dealing with the material world, or it dealing with reality in some way, or it that's dealing with making sense. So now we're gonna get into motherfucking the motherfucking air. And I'll make sure I got enough time on this motherfucker. Alright, now we're gonna get in the air in this motherfucker. Now, let's say you got a motherfucking air, sun, air, moon. Now, like I said, you got to do the modalities, so that's going to let you know how the shit is constructed in this motherfucker. But for the most part, now, if you got a moon air, now, what makes you feel comfortable? Your true state of being. You see what I'm saying? Now, you need to react and respond to forms of stimulation with the mind. So, you know what I'm saying? You got to have mind sex, a lot of sapiosexuals, of whatever that word is, that a lot of these people are sun and moon airs, double airs, and things of that nature. You could become airheaded, aka so lost within your mind, or so lost in someone else's mind, or what you think someone else's mind is consist of. A lot of times you could lose yourself within the reality of what's actually needed done in front of you. Or you could lose stuff and become forgetful. But for the most part, you're in a circumstance where you need to react and respond to stimuli. So you need to react and respond to thinking, communicating, relating in some way, shape, or form, whether it's dealing with family, friends, the outside environment, external things, or even your mentality. But if you're too alone, it can become frustrating for an air sign because you have no one to communicate with but yourself. And that can lead you on to a spiritual path where a lot of air signs need to be on so they can anchor themselves. But a lot of times an air sign being on a spiritual path will go beyond where things don't necessarily need to be. So for the most part, understand that too for all my air signs out there. Y'all are the anchoring for all of us, for the earth, water, and the fire. The air, we need y'all to be reality. We need y'all to be cool. Once y'all get too spiritual, the spaceship is burnt up and we all dead. You know what I'm saying? We need y'all for the technology information. We need y'all air signs. You know what I'm saying? We need y'all. We don't need y'all being too spiritual, too soulistic, or too practical. We need y'all to be that transparent, aka transportation. You know what I'm saying? We need y'all as drivers. You know what I'm saying? Without the air signs, we won't know shit in any realm of reality. And we all just be dumbass, gullible ass spirits. The same way how we got here. So, you know, air sign help us learn past, present, and future. So we need y'all motherfuckers. So for the most part, this is what you react and respond to. Knowing how to relate externally and internally. You know what I'm saying? But when it becomes too much internally, it could become chaotic and you can lose yourself and go to an extreme to the point that you revolutions and carry people off cliffs and things of that nature. But with your sun sign being in air, you see what I'm saying? What happens here is how you want that to look and how you want that to be seen is in the same area. So a lot of times you want your true state of being to be seen, which is your communication style, your way of wording, your way of analyzing things, your way of thinking, your way of communicating, your way of being curious and stuff. You want that to be seen. So a lot of times you may be here and there when you're a double air. You know what I'm saying? You may be all over the place, especially if you're a double air child. You know what I'm saying? And you may be highly intelligent, so you may be asking questions that a child shouldn't even be asking yet. You may have a certain word and certain language usage that your ass shouldn't even be having yet as a goddamn kid. You know what I'm saying? So for the most part, double airs is all over the place. Now, this is what you want to be seen. So for the most part, you need someone in your life to anchor that air, or you just going to manifest a lot of experiences in your life where a lot of people try to put your air in a jar, aka make your ass realize that your ass need to sit the fuck down from time to time. But you're gonna but through all those experiences, by default, this makes you very smart, very wise, and relationship queens and kings. Double air signs. Now, let's say you got an air sun and earth moon, right? Now, what makes you feel comfortable in your true state of being, right, is being practical, though. So you still like to think, but not so much talk as much. So you're not going to be as a talkative air sign as a natural air sign with the double air. You see what I'm saying? Or a lot of times you still may be, depending on your ascendant and other placements for the most part, you can have a Mercury conjunct Sun and be a double earth like Takashi and still motherfucking be talkative as fuck. You see what I'm saying? So keep that in mind. But when we talk about air, sun, earth, moon, what makes you feel comfortable is honing in on these thoughts, making sense, practicalizing things, you know what I'm saying, formulating things, seeing the shape and form out of these things first. So that's what actually makes you feel comfortable. You see what I'm saying? And how you like that to be seen and how you like that to be shown. A lot of times you have no business communicating that. So a lot of times you have no business communicating what you see and not on schedule. A lot of times you have no business communicating what you got on schedule, what you got planned. You know what I'm saying? Your goals. You know what I'm saying? Your status, your popularity level, or what you want to get from point A to point B. You have no business communicating these things, rationalizing these things, talking about these things with others. You know what I'm saying? And relating these things with others and things and so forth. So you know what I'm saying? You're very communicative when it comes to probably helping people out with rationalizing or making sense out of their circumstances and situations, whether it's dealing with relationships or their job, you know what I'm saying, especially their job or shit, people that's trying to build on things, you know what I'm saying. You ain't got no problem with building on, you know what I'm saying. It's a lot of astrologers that's a motherfucking air, sun, earth, moon. Y'all motherfuckers know how to practicalize some motherfucking logical fourth dimensional shit. You know what I'm saying? So for the most part, yeah, y'all some smart ass motherfuckers, smarty pantses. You know what I'm saying? But try not to be too smart for your own good to the point that you're smart asses, and to the point that you just become full blown assholes, and to the point that everybody know you smart, but as soon as you come, everybody want to run because everybody know you getting ready to put your 2 cents in to what everybody else got going on wrong. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? When you got that motherfucking air, sun, earth, moon, be careful to the point that you don't scare people and you be the demon in the goddamn flesh because people know you finna get ready to wash down all they wrongs on them. You know what I'm saying? So chill out, motherfuckers. I fucks with y'all, but you know what I'm saying? Get some motherfucking coffee and calm down. Now, when we talk about motherfucking on my air suns and motherfucking water moons. Now, on my air suns, water moons. Now, check this out. Now, what makes you feel comfortable and what you resonate with is emotions and feelings. So you like to sit back and deal with the emotions and feelings. So people don't truly know how emotional you really are. And this creates clouds. So clouds, you know what I'm saying, can become a stormy day in a second, aka a person talking to themselves or get into drug habits or get into emotional stress moments to the point that they want to wash down all their emotional problems onto others due to verbal abuse, aka talking a person's ear off about all your motherfucking problems and shit like that, and feeling sorry for yourself and shit like that. So be careful that you don't step in these state of beings, all my air suns, water moons. Yeah, that could become a habit for you motherfuckers. It could be good if you could put that shit into some poetry or music. But goddamn it could be a worse nightmare for somebody if you just a goddamn family member to somebody or a friend, a best friend. Goddamn it, your phone, your number pop up, and you a goddamn sun and air, water and moon. Goddamn it, I might hesitate picking that phone call up. Hee. You see what I'm saying? But for the most part, you need to understand that that's the energies that people look at you in sometimes. And sometimes you might just be feeling like you're trying to get something off. But you need to know what you're doing, and you need to know what kind of ego states that your spirit is in, aka what alignments you have, what solar system you got, chakra system you got, what light current body, water influences you have. So with that that motherfucking water moon, right? You're reacting and responding to emotions and feelings and the vibrations of your surroundings constantly on a day-to-day basis. But the way that is seen is in a verbal way, a communicative way, it's in a logical way. So for a lot of times, you like to communicate about your emotions and feelings. You like to communicate and rationalize about other people's emotions and feelings. You may be sipping too much tea to the point that you may be indulging into gossip a lot of times. So be careful that you're not doing that, because it can lead into bad health. Also, so be aware of that. Too much gossip leads to bad health physically for air signs and water moons also, because you know water moons, you picking up vibrations, so you picking up emotional state of beings, and then when you're communicating that, your word is bond. So your word is what make physical. Everything was created with the word, so the word is what you're constructing that came from internally. So you're using consonants and trees and hits and words and typos and shit like that to bring that physically. So you're bringing your own and other people's emotional states out physically. So if you're around a bunch of negative gossip, that can lead out into bad health for my sun, air, water, moons. Specifically y'all. You know what I'm saying? Every alignment is different. But for y'all got that problem. Everybody ain't got the same problems. Y'all got that problem. So keep that in mind. So yeah, that's all my air and motherfuckers air, suns, water, moons. And also the way y'all make y'all emotions and feelings, y'all like to put that in words. So y'all actually good with poetry also. And y'all good with writing music a lot of times also. Y'all may not even be the ones that necessarily like to perform the music. So y'all might be the writers, the engineers, the producers a lot of times. The water the sun, air, the water, moons. Y'all know how to motherfucker put these motherfucking vibrations in some goddamn words, or y'all know how to put it in some goddamn mechanics. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know how to put it into some goddamn machines like a goddamn motherfucker. Shit. Now, pardon me. All my air, suns, fire, moons. Last but not least, air, suns, fire, moons. Now, for the most part, now your true state of being and what's going to make you feel comfortable is being in an area where you can express and feel. So you like to feel, you pick up feelings, and you like to see these things for what they are. So you see the potential of these things. So you can kind of see and direct energy with your moon being in fire. You see what I'm saying? You're almost like a person of fuel, a person of gas, and you know how to direct that motherfucking energy and where everything is going consciously, or where other people need to visually view things. But how that's actually being seen a lot of times, being seen in an analytical way, in a logical way, or a communicative way. So you the type of person with the sun and air, fire and moon, who like to relate, communicate, or logically express their feelings and things of that nature. So you like to logically or put into words how you feel, or you like to logically or put into words what you see. And if you a person with a bright imagination, you got a lot of visions and you see a lot of shit in the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimensional realm, aka internally or yin. If you know how to bring that out, aka this is a sextile. So a person with a sun, air, fire, moon know how to bring this out a lot more fluidly than the previous ones I was just talking about. You see what I'm saying? So for the most part, you fluidly bring this yin realm, and you got double masculine energies to express yin realm with, because fire is related to the external energy, but fire itself is a yin or internal element, because it's internal. You cannot see that. You see what I'm saying? So when you see that spark, lightning, strike, it could turn into fire once it get brought into the external realm and have something to bounce off of as far as elements, other elements and shit. As far as air, you know what I'm saying, earth, you know, spaceships and shit like that. And then that's when you actually call it fire and flames, but it's actually not that. It's just actually like plasma or electricity or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Or a spark. But for the most part, you know what I'm saying, you got that spark internally. And then that air helps you communicate it. So it helps that fire be seen. So your air got a color to it, and that fire got some direction to go. So for the most part, that's when you sun, air, fire, moon. You know what I'm saying? You are a person who likes to react and feel comfortable with feelings and expressions and visions and things of that nature, and creativity. And the way it's seen is in a logical way, or a way that's dealing with words, or a way that's dealing with logic or a way that's dealing with relating in some way. You know how to relate it better than others. So you know how to relate your fire better than others. You could be a psychologist, you know what I'm saying, where other people who live chaotic lives, you know how to harness that shit. You know how to harness energy, harness fire and shit. Flight boss, bitch, goddamn air, or spiritual guru. We in this motherfucker. Now we gonna break down all the motherfucking signs in this motherfucker. We gonna break down to the nitty gritty in this motherfucker. Flight boss, bitch, air,